ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar, my dear friends. This is video number 4 on Kathopanishad. In this video, the knowledge of Atma, that is self-knowledge, is being described. It starts with stanza number 7. It says, Many there are who do not even hear of Atma, though hearing of him many do not comprehend. Wonderful is the expounder and rare the hearer. Rare indeed is the experiencer of Atma taught by an able perceptor. Expounder. Only a man who has directly realized the self can teach one about it. Hearer. A seeker endowed with the necessary qualifications. According to Vedanta, a man who has performed righteous actions in many previous lives develops in his present birth a spirit of renunciation for material objects and manifests a keen longing for the knowledge of Atma. Three things are indeed very rare: birth in a human body, the longing for spiritual freedom, and the guidance of an able teacher. The self cannot be known when taught by one who is merely erudite in the letter of the scriptures but who has not realized their essence. Stanza 8. Atma, when taught by an inferior person, is not easily comprehended because it is diversely regarded by disputants. But when it is taught by him who has become one with Atma, there can remain no more doubt about it. Atma is subtler than the subtlest and not to be known through argument. Inferior person. A man of worldly understanding who identifies the self with such physical objects as the body, senses, mind, or ego, diversely, etc. People who try to determine the nature of Atma by argument often describe it by such contradictory characteristics as existent or non-existent and pure or impure. When it is taught, etc. The following is an adaptation of Sankar's commentary regarding several alternative explanations of the sentence. How is Atma well comprehended? The answer is as follows. If Atma is taught by a perceptor who himself is free from the illusion of duality and who has become one with Brahma, then all doubts such as whether Atma exists or not and whether or not it is the doer disappear. It is the very nature of the knowledge of Atma to put an end to all doubts. Or the text may be construed thus: when Atma, which is the inmost self of a man and in no way other than the Supreme Self, is taught, there remains nothing else to be known, for there exists no other knowable object. The realization of the oneness of Atma is the consummation of knowledge. Therefore, since there is nothing else to be known, knowledge stops here. Or when the pupil is taught that Atma is non-different from Brahma, he does not come back to earth because liberation immediately follows this knowledge. Or when a perceptor who has known himself to be one with Brahma teaches the pupil that he is none other than Brahma, The pupil cannot remain ignorant about Brahma. That is to say, the pupil, like the teacher, realizes himself to be identical with Brahma. Atma is stellar, etc. Atma should be taught by a perceptor who has realized his oneness with Brahma. Otherwise, it seems to be inscrutable since it is subtler than the subtler things. Not to be known, etc. Atma cannot be proved by mere argument. No finality about a supramental entity can be reached by mere argumentation. A disputant's opinion based upon reasoning reflects only the state of his mind. Atma transcends all mental states. The way to attain self-knowledge. Stanza number 9. This knowledge cannot be attained by reasoning. Atma becomes easy of comprehension, O dearest, when taught by another. You have attained this knowledge now. You are indeed a man of true resolve. May we always have an inquirer like you. This knowledge regarding Atma, established by the seers and the scriptures, and taught by a perceptor who has realized his oneness with the Supreme Self. By reasoning, a man dependent upon mere intellectual reasoning and inexperienced in the true import of the scriptures will tend to associate the self with some notion of his impure mind. Another, that is to say, a perceptor who is not a mere intellectual philosopher but a man of self-realization. According to the Upanishads, the knowledge of the self cannot be obtained without the help of a qualified teacher. Enquirer. The word may mean either disciple or son. According to Vedic injunction, the knowledge of the Vedas should be transmitted to a qualified son or disciple. Atma or the self is known only by a direct and immediate experience. Being pure consciousness, it can never, like tangible objects, be perceived by the sense organs. Because it is transcendental, it cannot be known by inference. Only when the mind becomes inward and calm through rigid self-control and concentration does Atma reveal itself to a man in his inmost awareness. Those who try to understand it by means of argumentation never succeed. But the Upanishads do not condemn Vedantic reasoning, which a competent student should employ to grasp the instruction of his teacher. Yama praised Naciketas' great wisdom because the latter had rejected even the offer of a heavenly position. The king of death himself, though aware of its impermanence, had sought by means of sacrificial worship the position of a god. Stanza number 10. Yama said, I know that the treasure resulting from action is not eternal, for what is eternal cannot be obtained by the non-eternal. Yet I have performed the Nachiketa sacrifice with the help of non-eternal things and attained this position which is only relatively eternal. Treasure, that is to say, the result of karma. As a man seeks treasure, so also he seeks a reward for righteous action. What is eternal, the Supreme Self, cannot be obtained, etc. The effect is destroyed when the momentum of the cause comes to an end. It does not exist prior to its manifestation, it has a beginning and an end. Yet, the force of the word is that though Yama knew the eternal Atma could not be realized through non-eternal means, yet he employed non-eternal means to obtain the position of a God in heaven. Non-eternal things, such accessories of sacrifice as animals, butter and barley, position, etc. That is to say, position of God, of the King of Death, the life of a God is eternal in comparison with a man's life on earth, but it is non-eternal from the standpoint of the absolute. The knowledge of Brahma is possible only for him who has renounced all the employments of the relative universe, including those of Brahmaloka or the highest heaven. Stanza number 11. The fulfillment of desires, the foundation of the universe, the endless rewards of sacrifices, the shore where there is no fear, that which is adorable and great, the wide abode and the goal, all this you have seen, and being wise, you have with firm resolve discarded everything. The fulfillment, etc. All a man's relative desires find their culmination in the happiness of Brahmaloka, foundation, etc. Brahma, the controlling deity of Brahmaloka, is the world soul, endless. That is to say, from the relative point of view, soul, etc. Again, from the relative point of view, one who has attained to Brahmaloka is free from the fear of old age, disease, and death, which are the lot of mortals on earth. Yet, this is not real freedom. Great. Endowed with many supernatural powers, wide, lasting for years without number. Goal, the place where one enjoys unsurpassable happiness. All the objects described in the text belong to Brahmaloka, but though they had been offered to Nachiketa as a boon by Yama, he had firmly refused them. He was indeed a rare seeker after self knowledge. The king of death praised Atma in order to extol Nachiketa's wisdom. Atma is distinct from the body, the senses, and the mind. The knowledge of it puts an end to man's attachment to the world and enables him to attain supreme bliss. Stanza number 12. The wise man who, by means of concentration on the self, realizes that ancient effulgent one who is hard to be seen, unmanifest, hidden, and who dwells in the buddhi and rests in the body, he indeed leaves joy and sorrow far behind. Wise man. Dhira, the Sanskrit word in the text, denotes a man endowed with inner calmness, acquired through discrimination between the real and the unreal, and renunciation of the unreal. Concentration, etc. This is possible only when the mind has been withdrawn from sense objects. Hidden. The self is hidden behind various forms of phenomenal knowledge caused by contact of the mind with material objects. Buddhi. The determinative faculty of the mind free from doubt and vacillation in which Atma is clearly reflected. Body. Atma, all-pervading pure consciousness, dwells in the physical body, which is subject to such limitations as disease, old age, and death. This accounts for its inscrutability, leaves joy, etc. That is to say, the pupil realizes pure Atma, which transcends such pairs of opposites of the relative world as pain and pleasure, life and death, good and evil. Worldly joy is the result of contact of the senses with agreeable objects, and sorrow is its opposite. Furthermore, stanza number 13. The mortal who has heard this and comprehended it well, who has separated that Atma, the very soul of Dharma, from all physical objects, and has realized the subtle essence, rejoices because he has obtained that which is the cause of rejoicing. The abode of Dharma, I believe, is open for Nachiketa. Mortal. Only man among mortal beings is capable of attaining immortality here on earth by cultivating self-knowledge. Subhuman beings and the gods who only reap the results of their past karma do not perform any new actions leading to the realization of immortality, has heard from a qualified teacher. This self-knowledge, soil, soul of dharma. The word dharma denotes the inner foundation of all beings, without which they can neither exist nor further evolve. The phrase in the text is used as an epithet of Atma, which is the ultimate basis of all physical objects, such as the body, the mind, the senses, and the ego. Meditation on Atma is not possible without discrimination. Abode, etc. The king of death is convinced that Nachiketa is worthy of self-knowledge and liberation. If he was worthy, Nachiketa said, then Yama should forthwith instruct him about the knowledge of the self. Stanza number 14. Nachiketa said, that which you see as other than righteousness and unrighteousness, other than all this cause and effect, other than what has been and what is to be, tell me that. Righteousness, etc. The word dharma in the text denotes here the religious rites prescribed by the scriptures together with their fruits and their requisites. Unrighteousness is its opposite. All this, etc. That is to say, the relative universe which is held together by the law of cause and effect. What has been, etc. That is to say, in the past and the future. The present is also implied. Atma is not limited by time. Atma is beyond all relative experiences which are limited by time, space, and the law of cause and effect. It is not realized as the result of performing any of the rites laid down in the scriptures. Yama described Brahma or Atma by the symbol Om. Stanza number 15. Yama said, the goal which all the Vedas declare, which all austerities aim at, and which men desire when they lead the life of continence, I will tell you briefly, it is Om. Vedas, the word here means the Upanishads which contain the essence of the Vedic wisdom. aim at. The purpose of austerities is the realization of Dharma. So I conclude this video here. Next video number 5 will start with stanza number 15 of chapter 2 of Kathopanishad. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Namaskar.